It's 54 BC. On the windswept shores of Gaul, the greatest Roman general Caesar gazed across the waters, haunted by his previous failure in Britain. But Caesar was a man who conquered, not retreated. He summoned his engineers with a single command: build me an unstoppable force. What emerged was colossal: 800 ships, 25,000 warriors. War horses thundered across the docks, siege machines, weapons. Rome's greatest military expedition is about to set sail toward the unknown. At dawn, Caesar's fleet emerged from the thick fog that covered the British waters. His army leaped from the boats and charged through the shallow water. But Caesar was shocked. There were no British warriors waiting on the beach. The shore was completely empty. Caesar wondered. This was not like before. His soldiers began unloading their siege weapons. From the hills and forests, hundreds of eyes were watching the Romans. "Build a fortress here," Caesar commanded. "We will make this beach our stronghold before we march inland." The real battle was about to begin. Through the ancient forests of Kent, Caesar rode at the head of his unstoppable war machine. His ironclad soldiers marched in perfect formation. Hidden watchers trembled in the branches above. Messengers raced through secret paths, carrying word to the mighty hilltop fortress of Bigbury. The Romans built bridges over streams, carved roads through wilderness. Nothing could slow their advance. As the fortress of Bigbury came into view, Caesar turned to his generals and pointed. "Crush them!" From the sky, Bigbury looked like a trapped beast, surrounded by the machinery of conquest. Inside the fort, the British chieftain raised his spear, rallying his defenders with ancient war cries. The clash of civilizations had begun. Roman scaling ladders struck the walls, each strike shaking the earth. Then, breakthrough. The walls splintered. Caesar's forces poured through like a crimson tide. So, how did Caesar conquer Bigbury Hill so easily? Superior weapons and military discipline. Let's break down the difference. Roman precision versus British courage. Two armies, two completely different ways of war. Caesar's soldiers had the best weapons in the world. Their swords were short and sharp, perfect for stabbing in close fights. The Britons used longer swords, better for swinging and slashing. The Romans threw heavy javelins that broke apart on impact, smashing shields to pieces. British spears were strong, but they couldn't do the same. But the real difference was discipline. The Romans fought as one solid wall, shields locked together, protecting each other from swords. The Britons fought with courage and fury, but each warrior fought alone. They were brave, but no match for Roman order and power. Now back to our story. The fall of Bigbury sent shockwaves across Britain. 5 tribal chiefs, the Catuvellauni, Trinovantes, Atrebates, Cantiasi, and Ancalites, gathered in desperate council. They chose Cassivellaunus of the Catuvellauni as their war leader. 4,000 warriors and their swift chariots would answer his call. But this would be no conventional war. Cassivellaunus devised something history had never seen: the world's first guerrilla campaign. His strategy: drag Caesar inland away from his ships. Villages burned, crops turned to ash. Nothing would feed the invaders. When Roman foraging parties ventured out for food or water, British chariots struck like lightning, then vanished into the wilderness. Roman trackers followed wheel marks through forests. But the enemy was always one step ahead. Caesar realized the trap. This elusive chieftain was slowly bleeding his army dry. The hunter had become the hunted. Caesar's army kept going deeper into Britain. Then they came to the River Thames, but Cassivellaunus had a plan. He told his soldiers to put wooden sticks under the river water.
Drive them deeper! Push harder! We must secure this crossing before sundown!
Cassivellaunus stood on the other side of the river with his men. He watched and waited. Then Caesar gave the order.
They're sending their skirmishers across the river. Secure that landing point immediately! Opsio, form the line! We move now!
His soldiers ran into the water. The water was up to their chest. Arrows came flying from the other side. British horse chariots attacked the Roman soldiers in the water. The Romans were stuck and scared. But the Roman soldiers kept fighting. When Cassivellaunus saw the Romans coming, he told his men to run away. The River Thames was now Roman. Caesar won again. After his crushing defeat at the Thames, Cassivellaunus faced his darkest hour. Mandubratius, the young prince of the Trinovantes, arrived at Caesar's camp. They knelt before the Roman general. Herds of cattle and wagons of grain poured into the Roman camp as tribute. Like falling dominoes, other tribes witnessed this surrender and followed suit. One by one, they abandoned Cassivellaunus and pledged themselves to Caesar. When this devastating news reached the British chieftain,
My loyalty belongs to the true king!
Dedra! Then you are a traitor, and you will die a traitor's death!
the Trinovantes chiefs handed Caesar a deadly secret, a detailed map revealing Cassivellaunus' hidden forest fortress.
We attack Cassivellaunus' stronghold at dawn. Prepare the legions.
Deep in the ancient forests of Britain stood Cassivellaunus' final stronghold, a fortress carved from the wilderness itself. The betrayers had become guides to their former king's sacred sanctuary. Through the shadowy forest paths, Caesar's legions advanced with their new British allies. The assault began at dawn. Roman soldiers hurled themselves against the massive timber walls, while deadly spears and whistling arrows rained down from above. With thunderous crashes, the wooden gate began to splinter and crack. Panic seized the defenders. Through secret back passages, Cassivellaunus' people fled into the darkness, abandoning their doomed stronghold. When the Romans burst through the shattered gates, they found the ultimate prize, vast stores of cattle and grain. The heart of British resistance had fallen. With his fortress fallen and his kingdom crumbling, Cassivellaunus refused to surrender. He played his final card. He gathered the last remaining chiefs from 4 loyal tribes. His message was clear and bold. Attack Caesar's naval base, burn his boats, cut his supply lines. In the darkness before sunrise, the British warriors crept toward the Roman naval camp. Fire torches blazed in their hands as they prepared to ignite the wooden fleet. But the Romans were ready. Alert sentries spotted the advancing flames in the pre-dawn darkness. Alarm sounded, but they lacked the discipline of Rome. The slaughter was swift. One by one, the British fell before the superior Roman force. The boats were saved, and Cassivellaunus' final hope died in the darkness. His last gamble had failed. Next morning, the proud leader who had fought Rome now stood broken outside Caesar's tent. He knelt before Caesar. He offered his loyalty and even handed over his young prince as a guarantee of peace. But Caesar's victory did not last long. A messenger arrived with bad news from Gaul. Things were getting out of control there. Caesar's naval officers warned him, "Winter is coming. The channel will be too dangerous to sail. We must leave now or be trapped." So the Romans began to prepare to go home. Soldiers loaded grain, supplies, and the British hostages onto the ships. As Caesar's ship moved past the white cliffs of Dover, the truth became clear. He had not come to stay. He had come to punish the tribes that aided his enemies in Gaul. More importantly, this was a political move. Caesar could return to Rome and declare that he had conquered another mysterious island, expanding Rome's dominion over the known world. The first Roman invasion was complete. Many more would follow.